friends, I hope you are doing great at your place and safe, healthy and strong. Our topic is today is the pay stub. So we are going to discuss the important term of pay stubs, like what are important terms that should always be there. These terms should always be there. What I have written 7 terms, on the board. And all these terms are the minimum requirement in the pay stubs. Any of the term is missing, then in that case we cannot consider that as a valid pay stub. Okay, so those, if all these 7 terms should be there, either it should be there or information should be there. So let's see what are these terms and why these are so important. What is the significance of these terms? So the number 1 is employer name and address. Any pay stub, any pay slip, whenever we start, what we see, first of all, it should have employer name and address. Address is not mandatory, but name should be there in complete form. And address, why I'm saying address, even if address is not, then we need to check at the bottom if the employer website or anything written like that was created, that pay stub was printed out from the employer software, right? Other than there could be a logo of employers, and if the salary slip is given on the header with the employer, that is again acceptable. Header also. So simply borrower name and address. This is one thing that we need to keep in mind. It's mandatory that it should be there. Now the next term, number 2, is employee name and address. So employee name and address is again mandatory, because how I can determine whether this pay stubs or this pay slips or this statement which is given to me, it belongs to me. If I, as a borrower, I am applying for a loan and I am saying, okay, I'm earning $10,000 per month, then I need to give them proof. And I'm giving them a pay stub to the lender, and I'm saying that, okay, this is my pay stub. How we can determine whether that pay slip belongs to me or not? If that pay stub showing my name on that, complete name on that pay stub, then definitely that will belongs to me. That will belong to me, or else if it is not, then that would not be valid, because it could not, it doesn't have any evidence that pay stub belongs to the borrower. Okay. The next thing is address. Address is again a mandatory field because whenever it is whenever borrower works with some employer, any employer, right? He always wanted to, he has to provide the valid or current address. So whenever we have 2 documents and those both documents have a discrepancy, one document is showing some different address, and the application which borrower filled up and gave to us for a loan, that application is showing a different address, then what address, how we can determine which is the correct one. So we can come to the employees or that borrower's pay stubs, and we can find what address appearing in that pay stub, because that document or pay stub will be the most recent documents that we will be having in a file, right? So in that case, whenever that happens, if we can come to the pay stubs and we can verify the address, what is the current address. There could be different scenarios which we will see going forward, that sometimes even the address given on the pay stub doesn't match, because maybe borrower recently changed his address, but because pay stub will be given to us by employer, maybe he can explain that, okay, I didn't get time to notify my employer that I have changed my address, but I have given an application, I have sent an email, or I have notified my employer, and next month onwards my address will be changed. So there could be different reasons, but these are mandatory fields and it should be on the pay stubs. Now, next is the pay date, right? What is pay date? Pay date means at the date when borrower got that pay stubs or that pay slip. That is the pay date. It is also called, there are different things which could be, which we are going to see. So pay date is simply at the date when that pay slip was generated and given to the borrower. Okay. The next is pay frequency. Pay frequency is one of the most, I would say, important term in the pay stubs. When it comes to pay frequency, that also means pay period. Pay period, okay. And what is pay period? Pay period is like, now I need to go or tell you different things, and it's a very important term if you are going to appear on an interview for underwriting or for any other process. Interviewer is going to ask you what is the pay frequency or what is the pay period or how you going to determine different pay stubs. So let's see what are the pay frequency. There are 4 type of pay frequency. Number 1 is weekly. Okay. Number 2 is bi-weekly. Number 3, semi-monthly. Okay. And number 4 is monthly. Right? What happens when we work in India? We mostly get monthly pay stubs. Means we are being paid in India on a monthly basis. Like if I am working from 1st to till 31st, maybe I will get my salary for the entire 1 month, right? According to my pay stub or pay slip. But in US there are different frequency for the payment of the wages, right? So the number 1 is weekly. Weekly means 7 days. Weekly means 7 days. That means if I am starting, I'm on the 1st of January, from 1st Jan 2020 till 1st Jan till 7/20. Okay, that is how they are going to pay. Each pay stub will cover 7 days, and on the 8th day or maybe on the 7th day, as per the employer policy, I will be paid, but I will be paid on a weekly basis, right? The number second is bi-weekly. When it comes to bi-weekly, that means either we can say it for 2 weeks or 14 days. So bi-weekly pay stub covered 14 days. 14 days, 7 days. So 7 days is weekly, 14 days is bi-weekly. Number 3, that is for 15 days, and that is called semi-monthly. So when I say 1st Jan to Jan 7, that means 7 days, so it is weekly, right? But if this date I am saying it's 1 to 14, means from 1st of the month till 14th, and at the day of 14th I am being paid, that means that pay stub or that pay slip is covering 14 days. So in that case it will become the bi-weekly income. Okay, and if it is covering the date 15th, that means it's for semi-monthly. In a semi-monthly, we are being paid twice in a month, right? Even in bi-weekly, we are being paid twice in a month, because 14 days plus 14 days, it is almost covering 28 days. So we will not be getting for the rest of 3 days, but we will be getting for the next 14 days. So that pay will go from 29th to 12th. That is how it is going to cover. So bi-weekly, then semi-monthly for 15 days, and monthly we know the entire month, right? So 30 days at least. Now Now the question is, if there is a condition that that borrower need to provide 1 or 1 month, proof of 1 month salary, what is his monthly income, so he need to provide pay stubs for 1 month or covering 1 month period. So if borrower has to give proof for the 1 month, then in the weekly cases he is going to provide us with the 4 pay slips. How many? 4 pay slips, because one pay slip is going to cover 7 days, so at least to cover 30 days he needs to provide us 4 or 5 pay slips. 4 are also acceptable because we know the 5th will go to the next month, so at least 4 pay stubs, right? In the second case he need to provide minimum 2 pay stubs. In the third, again 3, because on the number 3 it is again going to give us at least 2 pay stubs to cover 30 days notice, 30 days monthly income. And number 4 is just 1, because it is going to give us, because the 1 pay slip is going to cover the entire month, right? So bi-weekly, whenever there is a borrower, if borrower is being paid weekly, he is going to give us 4 slips to cover 1 month period. If he or she is working on a bi-weekly basis, they are going to provide us 2 pay slips. In the semi-monthly, at least 2 slips, and on the monthly basis 1 pay slip, right? Okay, now let's move to the next term. I hope that I have clarified you what are the pay frequency or pay period, right? How to determine, and it's an important question not only to pass the interview, but also whenever you will be working in underwriting process, or you will be being trained in underwriting, or even in pre-underwriting, initial underwriting, credit underwriting, you have to calculate income. In that case, you need to check first the frequency, what frequency borrower is being paid, and on the basis of that you are going to calculate income. I'm going to share you each and every formula. On the basis of that we can calculate income from different frequency, right? So let's be with me till that time. Let's see what is the after pay frequency. Okay, now I told you how to determine what is the pay frequency, but if pay period or pay frequency, like from 1st Jan to 7th Jan, right? That is the pay period. But if the pay frequency is not written on a pay stub or a pay slip, then in that case, let's see how we can identify the pay frequency. There is a pay date written on the pay stub, like 1/1/2020. Okay, 1/1/2020. That means January 1, 2020, and borrower gave us 4 pay stubs. How many pay stubs? 4 pay stubs. He gave us 4 pay stubs. The second one is 01. This is the month 07/2020, right? Because in the US format, date is always written in the month, then date, day, and then year, MDY. Okay, so let's see. So this is the first pay date, this pay date. The second pay stub is showing this date, and third is showing 1, and 14 and 20, right? And maybe the fourth is showing 1/21/2020. That is all. So now I can see 7 days. What is the gap? 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. I can clearly show that, okay, it's a frequency. Pay date is showing it's a weekly. Borrower is being paid weekly. How I got to know? The first pay stub was showing the date borrower was paid on the maybe it could be like 12/31, right? 19, right? Okay, so After 7 days he was paid. After 7 days again he got a pay stub. After 7 days he got pay stub. So from the pay date, if we have multiple dates, then we can easily determine. And there are other as well. So last pay stub was showing us that it was released on 12/31, and next is showing 1/14. Then again we can easily determine that okay, the gap is 14 days. Also there are different components which when we will be discussing how to calculate income, that time I'm going to show you more tips and more tricks how to determine. There are different things from them we can easily identify what is the pay frequency. But if pay frequency is not written, pay date is given, then this is the formula how we can identify from the different pay stubs, right? Okay, let's move with the next one, that is the regular earnings. So regular earnings, if we are, we have to calculate income, so earnings should be there, right? So whatever the borrower earnings are, let's say borrower base pay is $3,000, right? And then borrower is being paid bonus of $1,000, and maybe he also did some OT, $500 in the month, 500. So what is his gross income? Means the total of these components once being clubbed, added, that is what so it will be $4,500 will be the gross income. Why I am telling you how to determine what is the gross income? Because that you will get to know why I told you this. So now this is the gross income. Now the next is YTD income, and this gross income is for that period, for none, right? Like pay period is 1/14. Sorry, pay period is 1/7/2020. So if I am going to say it's a weekly income, that this week he made this much of income, right? Now maybe if I'm saying the pay date is 8/31/2020, that this was the payment he was given. Then I also need to check what is the total income from 1st Jan till this date, how much income he earned. That is what the year to date income is. Year to date. Okay, and this is mandatory. It always required there. If there is no YTD written on the pay stub, that is not a valid. We need to ask borrower give us a new pay stub, and that should give us the YTD income till date. From the 1st Jan till date, maybe it could be 8/31, it could be 12/31/2020. So whatever from the first day of that year, whatever the income he made, that also need to be given. So gross income means the current that for that period. If he is being paid monthly for that month, this is the payment. But year to date from 1st Jan till the date, this what, maybe it's a fixed income, monthly fixed income. So I can easily let's say it's a 5,000 somehow. Let's take a hypothetical 5,000 he is being paid. There is an annual given, or maybe fixed income 5,000 per month. Then what would be the year to date income? 8/31 means 8 months. Then it is automatically going to be the 40,000, right? 5,000 5 8 40. So that will be for the last 8 months he have been paid 40,000. So that is what the year to date income. It should always be there. Now what happens, sometimes borrower tells us that okay, he is working since the start of this year, but when we go to and he is continuously working and he is getting fixed income of 5,000. What happens? Maybe in between he didn't work for 2 months. So his income is obviously going to reduce from 40 to at least 10,000. So if he didn't work total month till 8, he didn't work for 2 months, what would be his income? Because on the basis of 5,000, 2 months he will not be paid. So that will be reduced. So it will become around 6. So his income will be only 30,000. We will get to know, and we can ask, if he is being paid 5,000 as a fixed income per month, why his year to date income is 30,000? Because it should have been 40,000. So that is why we always need year to date income here. Okay, that is how we get to know if he is saying, or borrower declared that he is working, for since 1st of Jan till this date, but he joined on the month of March, because this pay stub is not going to give us when he joined the employer or when he started his job. He started his job in the month of March, but he thought that how employer will get to know whether how borrower is going to get to know that when I joined, because my salary slip is not showing anywhere my joining date. So he can say, okay, I'm working with this employer for last 8 months. But when we will have this YTD income, we will get to know that if you are being paid or you are working with the same employer from the since start of the year, then why your income is less, right? So there are different tips, different terms, different calculations. We can identify different things, right? Okay, the next is tax deduction. Tax deduction is one of the mandatory fields which should always be there. If tax deductions are not appearing on a pay stub, that pay stub could not be considered. Fine? Because as per the government, whoever is working with any employer, whether it's a government, it's a private, but there should be a tax deduction. Tax always need to be deducted by each employer. So there could be different components of deductions as well. Once we will go deep in the pay stubs, then we will get to know what are the significance of tax deductions, how to calculate YTD, how to determine regular earnings and base pay, what are the different component of gross pays, what is the difference between gross and net, how to calculate net income, how to calculate gross income, how to gross up the income. There are a lot of other terms, other different calculations that we are also going to see. So as of now, this is what the pay stub, and these are the important terms of the pay stub which should always be there. Without even one of is missing and we cannot determine, then we are not going to accept that pay stub as valid pay stub. Okay, let's see how to calculate income and what are different formula of